Welcome back. This is lesson 21 in our series about learning Python for beginners. This is the final lesson in our current series, and in this lesson you'll learn to make your own functions. So in this lesson we will recap what procedures and functions are. We'll learn how to declare a function and how to call a function and what to do with the values returned by a function. So just to remind you, a function is a block of code that takes values, old values, and makes new values out of them. So here's what our quiz program looks like right now. We begin by importing the random and time modules. We've written two procedures, countdown and check, and the main program is becoming quite short now because it uses those procedures. So here's the main program. I'm going to simplify it even more. I'm going to take the final remaining block of code and take that out and make it into a new procedure, or actually a function. So here's where I declare the function. It's got a header, just like the header of a procedure, where I name the function. It's called question, open and close brackets, which is room for a parameter, but I don't need one, ending in a colon, and then all the commands that I've taken out of the main program, all indented to show that they belong inside the function. So what makes this a function rather than a procedure? The last line. The last line of the function is the word return. That's a Python keyword, and it says this is the value that I'm going to return to the main program. And the value that I'm going to return to the main program is the answer to the quiz question, because the other commands in my program will need to know that answer, the right answer to the question. So the word return has two functions, has two purposes. It stops the function. So if there were any lines following that word, they would never be carried out. The computer would never get to them. It stops the function. It goes back to the main program, and it takes back to the main program one value. You're only allowed to send one value back to the main program. So I'm sending back the right answer to the question. So this is what my main program looks like now. It's really short. It's only 4 lines long, 3 lines inside a loop. And I'm calling the function that I've just made called question. And I'm capturing the returned value. I've captured it as a variable called answer. It doesn't have to have the same name as the variable inside the function, but in this case it does. And this is why question is a function where countdown and check are only procedures, because question is making a new value, and I'm capturing that new value as a variable called answer. And by the way, I'm using that variable called answer as a parameter for the check procedure. So all the parts of my program are starting to join together, and the whole thing is starting to make sense. So this was a very simple example of how to use functions and procedures in your programming. So to recap, you should now know the difference between a function and a procedure. You should know how to declare a function and how to call the function from the main program. And in both declaring and calling the function, you must make sure that you're returning a value and capturing the returned value. That's what makes it a function. So now you can try it. As always, you can copy my code or write your own code, but just to create a simple quiz program that's suitable for young children who want to practice their maths skills. So as an extra challenge, add a scoring system to your quiz. There's some hints on the left there. Set a variable called score to 0. Adapt the check procedure to make it into a function that returns a mark of 1 or 0, and then add that mark to the score inside the loop. And then at the end of the loop, output the score at the end, and you can format it in whatever way you like. And then no doubt you can think of other ways to improve your quiz program. But that's it now. There are no more lessons in this series. If you want to learn more, well, if you're one of my students, there'll be more lessons to follow on. But for everybody, there are lots and lots of really great lessons on YouTube, all about developing your Python skills. So enjoy looking for those and setting yourself more challenging tasks to learn. And for all of you, well done for sticking out for this whole series of 21 lessons and completing the entire Python for Beginners course. Bye for now.